on Fridays I put out a video. I'm scared to lose that motivation by not making a video. So basically I'm pressing record. Is not having something to say just a fact, or is needing to put a video out every so often more important than actually having something to say? I have one question that I want to answer eventually, and what's my take on Buddhism? So maybe I'll just answer that now. So I think like the core idea of Buddhism is that awareness of one's desires can somehow lessen the pain of not achieving them. That you can replace the core raw desire that you have with consciousness of that desire, and that the suffering will decrease. I could say one good thing, which is that I can see that there are moments when actually becoming aware of your desires, to really seeing into the nature of your own desire, is a really good thing, because people can be unconsciously gripped by a desire that they're not even fully aware of, and they're seeking, but they don't know why. And so if Buddhism can give you insight into what your motives are, it can make you see yourself. And that is a definite advantage. I definitely think consciousness of desire, not always, but often, is very valuable. But I think that a lot of desires can be fulfilled. And if you can fulfill a desire, and it's not sacrificing other desires, like you might have the desire to be ethical. Say, eating an ice cream is perfectly ethical. There's nothing really that unethical about it, unless you ask a small minority of people who actually think eating ice cream is not ethical. But if it's not unethical to you, then there's nothing really wrong with that desire. Why not eat the ice cream? I think a lot of life is having desires and fulfilling them. A lot of people would think that's the meaning of life. Now, Buddhism, I think, when it says that desire is the problem, and that if you can get rid of the desire, or just be aware of the desire and not fulfill it, it's the desire itself that's the problem. There's weakness there, however. Because one can be tempted to say that the desire is the problem, when really it's the inability to fulfill the desire which is the problem. Like, if I want to have more power over the world than I do, but I just can't achieve my goals. It's the frustration, it's the inability to fulfill my desires. Or the conflict that arises. Like, I might have the desire to be ethical, and my desire to take power. There's two different desires there, and the one will destroy the other. I can't be ethical and take power at the same time. But if you're putting on Buddhism as a way to just renounce desire altogether, then that could just be a sign of weakness. Like, I would like it if Buddhism was a sign of strength, which is to say that desire really was the problem, and that life really does get better if you stop desiring. But it's hard to think of like precise cases where that happens. For me, it's more a matter of realizing that I can't conquer the world without becoming evil or murderous or something. That's another desire, the desire to not be a murderer. Those are competing desires, but I think Buddhism tries to undercut the whole thing by saying the desire itself is the problem. And I definitely have experienced moments in my life where I think, well, the fact that I want this is actually more painful than my inability to get it. Like, if I just didn't want it, I would be happier. But it still seems something for losers. Like, losers renounce desire, whereas winners actually attain their desires. I don't know where Buddhism and winning coincide, where you actually are like more of a powerful, real, important person, like influential, by being a Buddhist. I think Buddhism is like a renunciation of being here in the physical world. Like, if you're already losing, then maybe it can help you to feel better by letting go. But if you're winning, if you still have a chance, if you're still in the game, and then a Buddhist comes along and says you shouldn't even try because it's desire that is causing the problem, then that could be bad. That could be telling people not to even try. Success will vary, but if you have a chance of succeeding, I'm not sure what good it does to adopt an attitude that says desire is the problem. Instead, you should work harder or do better. Put your attention on achieving the desire. But certainly, desires do come into conflict with each other. In order to achieve power, maybe you have to sacrifice ethics. But in order to achieve ethics, you might have to sacrifice power. They're both desires, and it's just a matter of deciding which one matters more. And it does seem like cheating or laziness to decide that desire itself is the problem rather than evaluating which desire matters more. I mean, if you never had a chance at winning ever to begin with, it makes it a lot easier to try to show how enlightened you are by renouncing your desires. And then Buddhism, it looks good. You get the veneer of an innocent or harmless but highly ethical person. But that's a desire too, to have that veneer. That itself is a desire. So true Buddhism, you'd have to get rid of that. And yeah.